You shouldn't put spirits on your amiibo, especially if they're not level 1. Okay? Do not train your amiibo before you put spirits on it. Alright? Let me explain why. We're going to get technical here, okay? Let's say, so your amiibo are basically a spreadsheet of probability statistics. Okay? The game reads those, interprets it according to a specific algorithm based on your character, right? Because each character has its own pre-programmed algorithm for how it interprets, which is why certain amiibo AI have certain issues. And then your amiibo rolls the dice and does those probabilities just like any other RNG. Let's say for a second that you have your probability statistics right here. These are your probability statistics, right? We'll say that you're a good trainer and you never taught your amiibo to taunt, and it doesn't taunt at all. Let's say that they use some forward smash and a little bit of down smash and some jump. These are just arbitrary variables, right? But you've got your amiibo trained just how you want it, okay? And then you put a spirit on it. Now, what I'm about to tell you isn't a joke. It is actually the dumbest thing I have ever seen Nintendo do, ever. Every single time you put on any spirit in the game on an amiibo, it changes each value in the behavior data by a preset variable. It doesn't matter the situation or what, it just changes the behavior data. So, for example, let's say you put on a Dry Bowser spirit, right? And Dry Bowser likes to taunt a lot. So it'll just add 128. And let's say he likes to forward smash. And it'll add 128. And he doesn't like to down air, so it'll subtract 200. And it's not really very jumpy, so it'll only subtract, and let's take off like 40, right? That is literally what adding spirits onto your amiibo does. I'm not kidding. It doesn't matter who your amiibo is or whether they're trained or not, it will do that. And every single amiibo in the game has a different set of these values. So what you end up with is this is out of 256, by the way, this probability is. You end up with an amiibo that has a massive taunting value. Amiibo with, what's 64 plus 128? 184? No. Yeah, 182? 192. I usually get that one pretty early. 192, crazy high. But then with down air, it doesn't down air a whole lot, does it? Oh my goodness, well that's kind of sad. Well, it also just subtracted 200. So the bite is going to roll down. So what's 32 minus 200? That's negative 168, right? So then what it'll do is it'll take, because this is the way bites roll down, it'll take 256 minus negative 168, which should be 88, if I remember correctly. So we'll just say that's 8. I don't actually know off the top of my head, but I think that's 88. Well, then it's going to down air more. And then with jump, it's going to jump, that's 120 minus 40. It's going to jump, I didn't plan for those to be the same. It's going to jump less. So it completely changes the play style of your amiibo. Okay? It doesn't always do that. Sometimes you get insanely lucky. But it usually completely changes the way your amiibo plays. Okay? In every circumstance, it does change your taunt value and your charging smash attack value and your dash dance value. And those are all values you want to be 0. So putting spirits on them will change those every time. So you will create an inferior version of your amiibo. The reason this is the case, I think, is because Nintendo didn't really think that people would put more, they kind of weren't that concerned about it, but they also didn't think people would put more spirits on them. They were thinking, oh, well, I want it to be like I'm fighting Dry Bowser, so we'll put the Dry Bowser spirit on Bowser. And so they thought, okay, what would Dry Bowser play like if he was in the game? And so they assumed that you would be starting from a blank palette, and then, they put in things that Dry Bowser would probably do. He would probably taunt a lot. He would probably use more forward smash. He would probably use a lot of down air. He probably wouldn't be very jumpy. And they just assume that you're starting from a blank plate, blank palette, I don't know what the terminology is. That's why you shouldn't put spirits on your amiibo, okay? You basically turn them into a hash brown of an amiibo. You may as well just randomize them. Like, that's really what you're doing, because you don't know what that spirit's going to do to your amiibo behavior data, so you may as well just randomize them. That's why we don't put spirits on our amiibo, besides the fact that the spirits meta sucks. So, welcome to Amiibo Science. It's really not that fun when you get involved with spirits.